maybe it'll come up now.
Sometimes they publish the calendar. Just add today, so we have plus 11s.
Mr. Rhodes, is there already a bond in this case, or do you want to address bond?
There's no bond. He's
Bond?
been in for 91 days. We'd like to address bond.
Okay, we can address bond. So I don't know if the numbers have changed, but this is position 2. Madam Corporal, are you there?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, all right, it's 22 CP 208134. Oh, I'm sorry. Wrong one. 22.
Judge Brandis,
Yes.
can you unmute? You can hear me. I can't hear any of y'all.
No,
It's a me problem.
it's a you problem.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. All right. 22 CP 213999 Marquise Walker, robbery by force and battery. And there's no bond after is 91 days, 92 days. Go ahead, Mr. Norwood.
Yes, Judge. Thank you, Your Honor. Again, ADA Matthew Norwood on behalf of the state. Good afternoon, Officer Salat. Thank you for being here. Where are you currently employed?
The city of Roswell.
The police department.
Yes, sir.
How long have you been employed by the city of Roswell Police Department?
Just over a year. It was a year on the 7th of this month.
What are your duties with the Roswell Police Department?
I'm a patrol officer on night shift.
Does that include responding to 911 calls?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any other training or experience relative to your night patrol duties?
Just the police academy, as well as some specialized training through Gypstick.
All right. Do you have any prior law enforcement experience?
No, sir.
Are you post-certified?
Yes, sir.
Have you been post-certified throughout your entire time with the city of Roswell Police?
I became post-certified as of June 24th.
Of 2021? Oh, 22. Okay. So you were post-certified on November 4th, 2022?
Yes, sir.
Right. Can you tell the court about the incident that occurred on that date with respect to how your investigation of Marquise Walker began?
Sure. So on November 4th, just prior to 4 p.m., I believe it was right about 3:42, I was dispatched to a physical disturbance at the Exxon station. Upon my arrival, I made contact with our victim, Miss Carrie Miller, who stated that she and Mr. Walker had left a homeless shelter that she was working with. She was giving him a ride back to the Studio 6, which was just across the street from this Exxon station. At some point, an argument ensued between the two of them, which prompted her to pull into the Exxon station instead and say, "Hey, I'm done. I don't want to go the rest of the way. You're close enough that you can walk there." It got physical within the car. From what she stated, Mr. Walker grabbed her phone and her car keys and said, "No, take me the rest of the way, take me the rest of the way." She grabbed his phone in order to, regain some possession. The argument continued outside of the vehicle, where I was able to see on surveillance camera from the Exxon station that he swung her purse at her. I'm unaware whether it was her actual purse or his hand that made contact with her face, but it resulted in a bloody nose and a swollen lip for Miss Miller there.
Okay. Is the address of the gas station 1105 Holcomb Bridge Road?
Yes, sir.
Is that in Fulton County?
Yes, sir.
So the defendants began when the argument ensued while they were in the car and driving. Was that also in Fulton County?
Yes, sir.
Okay. With respect to the battery, how did you arrive to your probable cause conclusion for battery?
It was based on the victim's statements, which matched up with the surveillance video that I was able to view.
Okay. And you observed the victim's nose bleeding?
Correct.
You
Yes.
spoke to the victim?
Yes.
Were there any other witnesses?
Not that came forward. No.
Okay. And there was surveillance?
Correct.
And that was preserved?
Yes.
Did you have your body worn camera on?
Yes, sir.
All right. With respect to the robbery, what was taken?
It was her car keys.
Okay. Did he take the car?
No, sir.
Were the car keys returned?
No.
The defendant left the scene?
Yes.
And he snatched the phone and the keys in the car?
Correct. Yes. She was able to regain possession of the phone, but never the keys.
Okay. Did the defendant, or did the victim, Carrie Miller, did she report feeling intimidated by the defendant
Yes, sir.
in the car?
Yes.
All right. Was there any force used in the car to take the keys?
I believe so from what she stated. However, I cannot say because that part was not on camera.
Okay. But you did see in the parking lot, the striking of the victim
Correct.
and the bloody nose and the swollen lip.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How did you identify the defendant?
She was able to tell me his name as well as she showed me a picture of him on her phone.
Okay. And you confirmed that identity
Yes.
when you took the warrants out?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you see the person in the courtroom today who was identified as a suspect?
If you can stand up, if anyone has a mask, they'll remove it.
Yes, sir. He is sitting just right there.
Can you describe where they are sitting and what they are wearing?
He is wearing a Fulton County jumpsuit, I assume it is, has blonde dreadlocks.
All right.
Just over there.
Thank you.
You can have a seat now. Your Honor, may the record reflect that the officer has identified the defendant, Marquise Walker.
All right, so noted.
Okay. Did the car keys belong to Carrie Miller?
Yes, sir.
Did the car belong to Carrie Miller?
It was her daughter's.
Okay. What kind of car was it?
It's a Acura MDX. It was white in color,
Okay.
or RDX.
How much was the car worth?
The car itself, I did not take notice of, since it was just the keys. I only put down what a car fob typically costs to have them reprogrammed, which was about $200.
Okay. And okay. And what is the nature of the relationship between the defendant and the victim, Carrie Miller?
Acquaintances, as far as she said.
Acquaintances. Okay. Is there anything about this incident that we haven't covered?
No, sir.
Okay. Nothing further from the state at this time, Your Honor.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yes. Good afternoon, Officer Salat, was it?
Yes, sir.
Hi. So going back to, the argument in the car, when you spoke with Miss Salat, what was she saying that there was an argument about?
Officer Salat.
My bad. When you spoke with the complaining witness, Miss Miller, what was she saying the argument was about?
She did not allude as to what the argument was actually about. She was asked multiple times, but did not want to discuss what the initiating argument was about.
Okay. And she would have been the only witness that you spoke with at the scene?
Correct.
Was there any other officer that was involved in the investigation?
Yes, sir.
What was that officer's name?
My training officer, Delman, was there. Officer Dixon was there. And let me think here. What is Zach's last name? Gonna come to me in a second. I'm trying to think of his last name. I know his first name. Brown, Officer Brown.
All right. And did any one of these other officers, Delman, Dixon, or Brown, speak with Miss Miller?
We were all on scene together initially, and then Dixon went off to the Studio 6 to look for Mr. Walker. Delman remained on scene with me. Like I said, he was my training officer. And Mr. Brown, or Officer Brown, he went in and pulled the surveillance video.
All right. When you spoke with Miss By the time you spoke with Miss Miller, did she have her keys in possession?
No,
So her keys were they ever recovered?
no, sir.
All right. And going back to the tussle in the car, you mentioned that, an argument happened first.
Mhm.
And then was it your testimony that Mr. Walker snatched her phone from Miss Miller?
Correct,
And also her keys?
correct.
And then afterwards, Miss Miller took his phone?
Correct.
Okay. Was there anything else that Miss Miller would have taken?
No,
And did Miss Miller still have his phone while you were there?
no. No, they had each gotten their phones back, but the keys were never recovered.
All right. How are you able to ascertain the value of the car keys?
We looked up what a typical car fob would cost to have them reprogrammed to the cars, which was about $200.
All right. You mentioned before that Miss Miller felt intimidated inside the car.
Mhm.
Did she explain how or why she felt intimidated?
She explained that she was under the impression that she and Mr. Walker were friends, good acquaintances. She did not feel that he would ever get violent or angry with her. And so it was a surprise to her that this argument ensued, and then it went so far as to him snatching these items from her.
Okay. And the injuries that she sustained, you mentioned that there was a bloody nose.
Yes, sir, and a swollen lip on top.
All right. And you mentioned that there was surveillance footage that showed her being hit by a purse.
Either a purse or his hand in conjunction with the purse. You can see the swinging motion. I'm not sure if just the purse made contact with her face or his hand as well from the angle.
And that footage would have been from the Exxon.
Yes, sir.
Was that footage recovered and placed in evidence?
Yes, sir.
And this was Miss Miller's own purse, correct?
This was her, I'm sorry?
Was this Miss Miller's purse?
Yes, sir.
All right. And that purse was still in Miss Miller's possession when you were there?
Correct. Her items were spilled on the ground there at the gas pump area, and she was regaining possession of all of her items at the time we arrived.
And again, this was after Mr. Walker had already left the car.
Correct.
All right. As for location, was this, alleged battery, was it while Miss Miller was still inside the car?
No, it was outside of the car.
All right. So had Mr. Walker moved to the driver, where were Miss Miller and Mr. Walker located in reference to the car?
Miss Miller was the driver. Mr. Walker was the passenger. At the time of the battery, they were both outside of the vehicle.
All right. Those are all my questions. Thank you.
Any follow-up?
Just very, very briefly, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yeah, did Carrie Miller ever express consent to allow the defendant to have the car keys or the phone?
No.
And a struggle had ensued in the car prior to the snatching.
Correct.
All right. No further questions, Your Honor.
That's it? Nothing
No
else from
further
you?
questions.
All right. Y'all, anything else for this officer?
No, Your Honor. May our officer, the state's witness, be excused?
Yeah, stay healthy and safe. Congratulations on making it through the academy. Good luck. Stay safe out there.
Thank you so much.
Get home safely every night.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, my car. Yeah.
All right. Argument?
Yes, Judge. The state will submit on the evidence subject to rebuttal with one note. We do ask that you find probable cause for a robbery by force. We would submit that the struggle that ensued was contemporaneous with the obtaining of the car keys and the phone. That is the language of Dutton versus State. 199 Georgia App 750, and that actual violence was also used in the same sequence of events when the striking occurred with the subsequent bleeding and swelling. Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
Mr. Rhodes?
Yes, Judge. So we would ask that there's no probable cause on the robbery by force. Initially, the officer drafted these warrants as a theft by taking and a battery. The battery being for the, alleged hit with the purse that caused her nose to bleed, and the theft by taking being for the keys. The keys were taken obviously before any battery had occurred. And, for a robbery by force to have occurred via Rivers v. State 46 Georgia App 778. One moment. Had it pulled up. Yes, if there's injury done to the person, or if there's a struggle to retain possession of property before it's taken, it is force enough to qualify as a robbery by force. There obviously wasn't a force used before the alleged taking of the keys, and we don't have any good evidence to say that there was any sort of struggle to retain possession of a property while it was in possession or not. So I would just ask that there's no, well, I would assert really that there's no probable cause for a robbery by force in this case. And we submit on the evidence for the battery charge.
Okay, I'm going to file a probable cause on robbery by force and battery. He's no bond. It's been 91 days without indictment. Odyssey finally pulled up
Thank you, Your Honor.
on those two charges. Pre-trial.
Mr. What's his name?
Walker.
Walker. 7 prior arrests, total 3 in Florida, 7 in Georgia. Open case in Fulton, 20 CR 0043559Y. Battery, simple battery, family violence. The victim is last name is Martin. Don't have any convictions. It appears in Florida, don't appear to have any either. Arrested for like grand theft. Was convicted of misdemeanor obstruction and things like that. Nothing further.
All right. Mr. Rhodes.
Yes, Judge. Mr. Walker is 25 years old. He is from Florida, but has been living in Atlanta for the past 4 years. with family as well. He has a mom here and several aunts who live here in Georgia. One of those addresses where he'd be able to get mail at would be the address on file, 121 Spofford Drive in Dallas, Georgia. He, as indicated, seems to have no prior felony convictions. And we would, of course, assert that he is, even with the open cases, guilty until proven innocent. And those arrests should not be held against him in this case. Considering, Judge, that he's not a flight risk in that way. He does have family here. He's not a risk to reoffend with no prior convictions and would not intimidate the victim here. We don't know where she is. Mr. Walker has no way of contacting her at this point. And I would even doubt that the DA is managed to speak with the complaining witness here. If the complaining witness wasn't even willing to speak with the officers on the scene about what the struggle was about, I would just ask that the court grant Mr. Walker a reasonable bond, not to exceed $5,000, so we can work with the bail project, of course, to get him out.
All right, is he going to live in Dallas, Georgia?
Yes.
All right. What says the state?
Yes, Judge. We do appreciate the defendant's relative lack of, or apparent lack of felony convictions, but the state is concerned about the nature of these allegations. We would submit there is danger posed to Carol Miller. Would also note the defendant has two other open batteries, one the family violence involving the parent of the defendant, and the other one, all the victims are different. So we would submit there is a risk of also committing additional felonies while out on bond. And given the nature of the multi-state history, we would submit there may be some risk of the defendant not returning to this jurisdiction to face these charges. We'll leave any bond amounts in Your Honor's sound discretion. I would ask for nothing less than $10,000 good on the robbery by force. With respect to the victim contact, I am pending an update from our victim witness advocate. Usually they send it to me now. I may get that during the course of this hearing, but I don't have an update on that yet. But I would submit that our office is reaching out to the victims, and we will have some information from the victims soon. Nothing further from the state.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. No further contact with Carrie, K-A-R-I Miller. Stay away from 1105 Holcomb Bridge Road. Sir, stay out of Fulton County. Only reason you come back to Fulton County is court or to see your lawyer. Absolutely no other reason you come up. Fill up with gas in Paulding County. Do not cross that Fulton County line unless you're coming to court or to see your lawyer. You have that ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, and work. Provide the name of your employer, location of employment, proof of employment, and a schedule. Provide that to Mr. Rhodes. Mr. Rhodes is going to provide that to the state. Also let the ankle monitoring company know. Sir, if there's any holds, I don't know what's going to happen on the open cases, if anything though, Mr. Rhodes. So they'll automatically put, he has 48 hours to have that ankle monitor placed on his ankle if there's a hold that pops up from somewhere else. Not saying there is, not saying there's not. However, he'll have 48 hours. You want to say something, Mr. Rhodes?
I'll just have to explain the terms of your bond to him. He was just confused.
Oh, to him. Oh, okay, that's fine. So I'm gonna, an acquaintance, I don't know what that means, but it does concern me with this, the two batteries or simple batteries already out there, one being of a parent and the other being by, I don't know if it's a spouse, but 10,000 on robbery by force, 5,000 on battery. And Mr. Rhodes, if by chance you get something from the victim who wants no further violent contact, just let the state know. I don't know if you're going to let Mr. Norwood know or someone, copy them, and we'll amend that bond for no violence since they don't have a word yet back. But right now it's no further contact.
Sure. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Best of luck to you, sir. You can go and tell him, Mr. Rhodes, since if you want to go in there and tell him. Sure. I mean, I don't know if this microphone's going to pick up. Who's this one for? Who's this guy here for? This detective? Which case?
Your Honor, I'm here for, I was actually subpoenaed today. I think the gentleman's name, they
Oh.
just called me. I apologize. I never received this subpoena.
What's your name?
No, it's
Investigator Kettle.
Oh, okay, you're the Fulton County Sheriff?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Gomez?
position
Yes,
one.
Your Honor, I apologize.
Oh, okay.
We can, I also have an update that the officer for position 3 is on the way as well. So we can proceed with position 1.
Okay,
I believe that is a pro se case though.
yeah.
We'll call you when they come out. She'll swear you or the judge will.
Yeah, if Gomez, whenever. He can talk to him back there if you want to swap out the people or something. So, Mr. Rhodes, we're calling out the pro se person. You might want to at least move your laptop,
Sure. And
unless you want to sit beside the pro se
it's
person.
fine. I was trying to get to the bottom of it. He may have a conflict attorney, Giovanna Smith. I'm not sure. His first appearance was on, April of last year. I don't know what happened with that case. I wasn't with the Fulton Public Defender's Office at that time, so I don't know.
Okey doke. Well, I guess maybe you can ask him has he seen anybody or,
I can ask.
I mean, with the conflict, yeah. Oh, but we need an interpreter, don't we?
I don't know for him, but yeah.
Oh, we need it for your other one.
Yeah.
Oh, Ms. Gaston, can you hear me now? Which one do you need to oh, but that one's continued.
Yeah,
Sorry,
forward.
so we don't need, okay, never mind. I think she still can't hear us. And on the first appearance form, it says pro se.
I don't think I saw an entry.
And I would think,
Do think there's an attorney.
but you don't know if there was a conflict at your office, or do you think maybe there was?
So I was looking in JCATS, which is, our electronic database of files.
Mm-hmm,
It looks as though it was transferred to conflict
mm-hmm.
in April of last year. That's all I really saw.
Oh, it is reset park.
Mr. Gomez, do me a favor, before you sit down, pull your pants up for
I'm
me.
so sorry
Best you
about that.
can,
I
that's
got
okay.
changed. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
Happy Valentine. I'm sorry about that.
Thank you, that's okay.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Gomez, I don't want you to say anything about your case, okay? However, I'm concerned because you've been here, looks like, well, it's gonna be more. Let me see how many days.
755 days.
Yeah, 700 and, is it 755? 755 days, and let me see what is the bond, and you have no bond.
There's a 21 SC 179-421 where that case is indicted. It's in front of Judge Kraus. There's a final plea date on March 7th, and there is no bond in that case. That's from another aggravated assault from November 8th, 2020. The case is open and there's an attorney. I'm seeing attorney on that one.
Hold
He
on.
was the conflict back in the day.
Oh, okay, I see.
Okay, so you've been in 755 days and you haven't had another bond hearing since April of 2022.
No,
And that concerns me, whether you have a case that's indicted or not. So the attorney that represents you in the other case, does he or she also represent you are they from the conflict defender, and did they represent you in this case?
from what I was told, after I had actually caught the, I guess it was the aggravated assault on the detention officer, I was told myself that, I had basically one lawyer had took all the cases, but I was pro se myself from the beginning. So I haven't seen no lawyer. I haven't had no lawyer visit. I haven't seen any attorney, and I haven't spoken to any lawyer on the phone. I had no lawyer written me anything in the jail. None.
Okay, you want a lawyer.
What I'm saying is, at the same, I'm pro se at the time, yeah.
Okay, now, you want a lawyer to represent you is what I'm saying, correct? Because your charges here are aggravated assault with intent to murder, possession of a dangerous weapon or drugs by inmate, and obstruction of a law enforcement officer.
Actually, I wanna go pro se on that. I do. I actually,
I don't advise that.
can I say one thing? It seems as that situation.
Well, stop. Right there. You do have the right to remain silent, sir, okay? You got the DA over here, or the ADA, I'm sorry, that is going to write down every word you say, and this is being taken down. So that's going to be used against you in your trial. So please, don't talk about the facts of the case. I'm begging you. I'm also strongly suggesting that you get a lawyer. So on the other case, you got a lawyer. Do you know who that lawyer is?
No lawyer has contacted me for any of them cases.
On the case,
That's why I'm.
hold on a second.
None
Read
of
your
them.
text, please.
Who?
Read your text.
I don't have my phone. Ambria's bringing my phone. I left it upstairs. So let me.
For any of my cases, my lawyer has not contacted me for any of the cases. None of them.
Okay. You have a lawyer though.
I don't even know any lawyer's name to even have a lawyer. I'm just telling you, I haven't contacted from any of them.
Can you?
From the whole time I've been in jail.
All right, hold on. Let me find this one. So the one that's indicted in front of.
I believe.
Judge, that other case, it was Shania King. She stopped working for the conflict office right after COVID.
So he did have a conflict.
Yeah, I believe that was in 2021.
Mr. Norwood, read the chat, please.
Yes, I'm going to it now.
Let me see.
It don't matter.
Did you send it to me? I don't see any new chat.
The chat on. Oh, yeah. Did you put it in the chat for Zoom or the other?
I put it under your name, Mr. Norwood. I put it under SAE defendant. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's no problem. I'll look out for it.
I believe it's case number
Oh, I got it.
21SC179421, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Yes. I have, as far as that attorney, I did have an attorney named Keisha Steed. She did take that case. The last time I saw Miss Steed was 2021. It was February 22nd. I was here. I had a downtown court appearance with her.
Okay. Hold on, because I'm looking through the pleadings right now to see if
Yes, ma'am.
anybody else has submitted.
Yes, ma'am.
So you've been following all that stuff. Let's see. Wait, hold on. Who submitted this? Yeah, it says, is Miss Steve still working at the conflict? Bostic.
What name?
Keisha Steed.
I've never heard of Keisha. What? How you spell the last name? Steve?
Steed, because she did file,
I've never
you know,
heard of Keisha Steve.
basically it's ex parte for on February the 21st of 2022.
I don't know that name. She may have took over for Miss King.
When did the other attorney leave?
Her and Travis left, I think 2 years ago. They left at the same time. And then Dark left soon thereafter.
Can you,
Your Honor, I want to say I haven't had no attorney for any of these cases. I just
Yes,
want to
sir.
say for all the dockets, I haven't seen not one attorney
okay,
except Miss Steed.
Boston,
And,
can you text Miss Markowitz or Miss Bray and maybe they'll know, or Craig Lewis?
And can I say one thing to the district attorney's office? For all these cases, I have no police report. I have no paperwork on any of the cases.
So you don't have discovery.
I don't even have anything. I don't even have the indictment number. I believe I spoke to Miss Steed in February 16th, 2021, before I went to court on the 22nd. She had gave me the indictment on the case 21 SC 717942, which is aggravated deadly weapon. Besides that, I haven't seen anything else. So all the other cases that I have no police report, no docket number, I have no indictment, and I have no discovery on any of them. And I've been sitting the entire time.
Okay, so hold on one second,
Thank you,
because
ma'am.
probably that was given to your lawyer, but I'm trying to figure out who it is, okay?
I haven't seen no lawyer, ma'am. I'm sorry about that.
Right, okay, I got you, because I'm trying to figure out like who it is.
Yeah.
Hold on one second. Well, it was Gina Bernard, October, in one case.
And what docket number is that, man? Would you mind telling me?
Bostic, I was talking to the pretrial.
Yeah, all
I see
right.
her like, but that's in 2022.
I text Lewis.
Okay.
Yes, they're coming up at 2. I'm gonna check on it.
And just so the court is aware, the officer Lucy on position 3 is here too.
No, okay.
Check on it. And once they come up.
Oh, I was like, where's that coming from? No, I mean, because, let's see.
Somebody check on.
So it looks like Keisha Steed is on a couple other cases, and I don't know if, okay, hold on, here's another one. Wait a minute, let's see.
I just want to say for the record, I did, by the time being, I've been doing this time, I have been writing to Kathleen Tina Robinson, and I have been writing to the courts about the situation about me not even having an attorney for as counsel, or any of the docket numbers, not having any police report, any statements, or any indictment paperwork to even process my case, even being pro se.
Yes.
So I have written to Kathleen Tina Robinson probably about 30 different letters. And I've gotten responses back from the courts, but I haven't gotten anybody that's ever mailed me anything in the mail. I haven't got no letters in the mail about my case, no docket number, no police reports, nothing. So it's been about going on 2 years now, and I
Yes.
haven't had anything.
I understand. It looks like Keisha Steed has been the one that's filed the ex partes
Okay, I will look in.
in the other cases. So hold on. So,
That's been about a year now. So
Yeah,
I've seen
I see
Keisha
that.
Steed on that. And that case actually, that case right there, I believe last time I spoke to Miss Steed, it was a plea bargain that was supposed to be given on that. But me and Miss Steed had actually, I don't want to talk too much about the case. You know,
no.
Yeah.
Don't
Thank you so
talk
much.
about what you and Ms. Steed talked about. That's
Well-
attorney-client. No. That's a
Yeah,
very,
yes. I'm just saying that it's been.
We're gonna get in touch with Ms.
Steed.
Steed. We're gonna get in touch with Ms. Speed, but I don't want you, because you could
Yes.
say, I asked her this and she said
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
and that's attorney-client privilege.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you
That's
so
between
much.
two of you.
Thank you so much.
So here's what we'll do,
Yeah.
and I hate to do this, while they're trying to get in touch with Ms. Steed, we'll swap you out so we can hear this other case, okay?
All right. So am I coming right back?
Yes, sir. Soon
All
as
right,
we
thank you
finish
so
with this-
much. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
I'm coming back.
So, Keontae Brown,
Yes, Judge, the state calls Officer Lucy, and we'll wait for Keontae Brown to come out.
Thank you. Thank you, Ron.
Yeah, you can
yes,
go-
yes, sir.
You can go to the booth over there, more comfortable stuff. They got a little bit more cushion.
Keontae Brown.
Yes, officer, you can have a seat or stand by the podium right now. Once we get them out, we'll have the video. Thank you. Take a note on this one. Who's in Kraus now? I think it's Peoples, right?
I'm not sure. Yeah, if you pull it up, she's with the conflict, but I think there's nobody here from, I don't see an entry here.
You want to talk out there real quick? Your Honor, may I please be excused briefly in the back area over there to speak with the officer?
Yes.
All right, I'll be right back. Thank you.
Miss Sneed just works in particular judge's courtroom? I've never heard of her.
I mean, I do, and I know her, and I thought I had her phone number from where we had cases against one another, but
Was she assigned to like Judge Krause or something?
no,
Or-
she's with conflict. So, but I don't know if she's still doing conflict. That's what I'm trying to get in touch with her to find out. Did neither one of those respond to you?
No, he hasn't. And I don't have Gina Bernard's. I've never even met her in person. Like she started during COVID.
Thought I had her. Well, we got this one out here. All right, we'll go ahead and hear this one and maybe some folks can, Ms. Gaston. Ms. Gaston.
Ms. Gaston?
Hey, can you message her and see if she'll, here's a number that, see if she can find out where Keisha Steve, and there's numbers on Odyssey on the pleadings.
It's not.
It is for her. At least that's the only number I can, or let me look at the state bar. Let's see. Let's see. I'll write it down. There you go. Keisha Steed. And this is Stephen Gomez. All right. All right, we'll go ahead with this one really quickly. Whoop. Where'd Monster go? Oh, they're talking. Yeah, okay. All right, you ready? Oh, wait, come on up, officer or sergeant, captain, colonel. Okay, there you go. Deputy,
Do you swear or affirm that testimony you're about to give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, that God?
Yes, ma'am.
Take your seat.
all right. This is 22 CP 214005. Keontae Brown. I think it's 91 days without indictment for armed robbery, hijacking a motor vehicle, aggravated assault with intent to rob, possession of a firearm during the commission of or attempt to commit certain felonies. Go ahead, Mr. Norwood.
Yes, Judge. Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Investigator Lucy.
Yes, sir.
All right. Where are you currently employed?
With the Atlanta Police Department.
All right. How long have you been with the Atlanta Police Department?
About 8 years.
What are your duties with the Atlanta Police Department?
I'm a robbery investigator.
What does that, what kind of daily duties does that entail, the robbery and the robbery unit?
We get assigned cases that are robberies, carjackings, and related, and we investigate the crime.
Does that also typically include armed robberies and aggravated assaults?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any prior law enforcement experience?
Not outside the Atlanta Police Department.
Have you been post-certified throughout your entire time with the Atlanta Police Department?
I have.
So you were post-certified throughout 2021?
Yes.
All right. Can you tell the court about the incident that occurred on May 24th, 2021? In the ensuing investigation beginning on the 25th of May, 2021 regarding the Marquise Walker. How did your investigation begin?
Regarding who?
Marquise Oh, no, Keontae Brown, my apologies.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
The incident occurred on May 24th, 2021, where the victims, Antonia Cordo and Nathan Aguilar, were at 1475 Spring Street, in their vehicle, just talking, smoking weed, whatever they were doing, when they were approached by two males who pretty much presented a gun and robbed them of their vehicle and items. The males left situation, they called the police and police arrived and got the initial report. I was assigned the case, and by the time I was assigned the case, the victim, Mr. Aguilar, had contacted me and was and stated that his bank cards that were taken along with his vehicle had been used at several locations. One particular location was a website that sells four-wheelers and dirt bikes and everything. And he was able to get the information of the person who attempted to use the card. One of the emails that was used was kingrifa@gmail.com. I was pretty much able to get a search warrant for that email, and using the recovery information from that email, I got another email, which was, I don't have the exact email in front of me, but a version of Keontae Brown at Gmail, which I then sent a search warrant for that, which came back with another email of similar name. That email also had a phone number attached to it. A court order of that phone number gave me back the subscriber information, which was Keontae Brown's sister. I did eventually travel to Keontae Brown's last listed address, and I spoke to his mother, who confirmed that that was in fact his phone number, or the last phone that he was using, and that I don't know the person's name right off the top of my head, but the subscriber was his sister. I then got a search warrant for that cell phone records information, which shows that that cell phone was in the area of the incident when it happened. It then traveled eastbound towards where Keontae Brown's last listed address was, which was 3164 Citrus Court. And around the time that the cell phone is shown pinging in that area is also around the time that the transactions were attempted to be made. At this point, I got a warrant for Keontae's, an arrest warrant for Keontae. And later, much later, I don't know the exact date, Keontae was arrested, and I did speak to him. I did explain to Keontae what was going on. He agreed to speak to me without a lawyer, and I did explain to Keontae what was going on. And he did admit to using the victim's card. So when I asked him if he was in Atlanta, he stated that he was not. I told Keontae that his phone put him in that place. And even though he didn't have cell service at the time, there were still other things that would put him in that area at the time. And I asked Keontae, had he been in Atlanta at all? And he stated he was never in Atlanta, which the cell phone records that I had got dispute that. That's it.
All right. Is 1475 Spring Street, is that in Fulton County?
Yes, it is.
Okay. What kind of location is that?
Yeah, it's an abandoned building.
Okay. So nobody lives in that building?
No.
And there are two victims, Nathan Aguilar and Antonia Cordo?
Yes.
Did you speak to both victims?
I did.
Okay. Did both victims report seeing a firearm?
Yes.
Who had the firearm?
They had described two suspects. One was a taller, dark-skinned male, and the other was a shorter, lighter-skinned male. They explained that the taller, dark-skinned male, which I believe to be Keontae Brown, was the one that had the firearm in his hand, while the shorter, light-skinned male kind of stood to the side, but did eventually get into the vehicle once it was taken.
Okay. How did you arrive to your probable cause conclusion for armed robbery?
Keontae Brown's phone put them at the situation, and the fact that the taller, brown-skinned male that they described had put the gun to Nathan Aguilar and Antonia Cordell and demanded that they exit the vehicle. He then took their vehicle, which constitutes an armed robbery.
What else was taken?
Besides the vehicle, just the bank cards and I believe a cell phone. Let me check that real quick, if you don't mind.
Sure, you may refer to your notes when you're finished refreshing your recollection. You could just look up.
Okay. The items taken were the vehicle, which is a Honda CRV, the car keys to the vehicle, an iPhone 11, an iPhone 10, and a wallet, which contained the bank cards.
All right, all right. Did they point the gun directly at any body part of either Nathan Aguilar or Antonio Cordell?
Yeah, both victims stated that the gun was pointed at them. They didn't say any particular body part that I can remember.
Okay, okay. And how did you arrive to your hijacking motor vehicle with respect to any degree, the probable cause conclusion for that?
Because the vehicle was taken while the person possessed a gun, it fit the crime of hijacking a motor vehicle in the first degree.
All right. How did you arrive to your aggravated assault conclusion with intent to rob? Probable cause conclusion?
Because the firearm was pointed at both victims.
And they both saw the firearm?
Yes.
They felt as if their life was in danger?
Yes.
Okay. And they were actually deprived of property?
Yes.
Were they the owners of the iPhones? They each had their own iPhone?
They each had their own iPhones.
Okay. And they were both, who did the vehicle belong to?
I believe, may I refer to my notes?
Sure, yeah.
The vehicle belonged to Antonia Cordell's mother, Mary Cordell.
Okay, and Antonio Cordell was inside the vehicle at the time?
Yes.
And Nathan Aguilar's cars were used?
Yes.
Fraudulently?
Yes.
And stolen?
Yes.
Okay. With respect to possession of firearm or knife during commission or attempt to commit certain felonies, how did you arrive to probable cause conclusion for that?
The suspect had a firearm on his person while committing the felony armed robbery.
Can you describe the firearm?
Let me try to refer to my notes, see if I gave a description. The firearm is only described as a black handgun.
Okay. Was that gun ever recovered to your knowledge?
No, it was not.
Okay. You didn't respond initially to the incident location? No?
I did not.
Okay. Did you speak with the officers that did respond initially?
I did not.
Okay. Did they have body worn camera on?
They did.
Did you review that?
Partially.
Has it been preserved?
Yes.
Is there any other surveillance?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. And on the body worn camera, the officers speak with both victims?
Yes.
And they make statements?
Yes.
Did they speak with anybody else? Were there any other witnesses?
No.
Okay. What time of day did this incident occur?
This incident occurred approximately around 10:15 on May 24th, 2021. 10:15 p.m. I'm sorry.
Okay. Who called 911?
I'm not sure exactly who called 911, but it was the victims who called 911.
Okay. But 911 was called?
Yes. The initial response was to a college campus, SCAD college campus.
Okay. Is 1475 in Fulton County, is that close to SCAD, the SCAD College campus?
It is.
And that SCAD College campus, is that also in Fulton County?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Did the victims ever get any of their property back?
No,
Was the car ever found?
the car was recovered. I'm sorry.
Oh, the car was recovered? Okay, okay. None of the iPhones,
No,
none of the cards,
I don't believe any of the cards were recovered.
nothing else that was in the wallet?
I don't believe the wallet was recovered either, to my knowledge.
What kind of car was it a financial transaction card?
Yes,
Okay, and that's how the victim, Nathan Aguilar, was able to track down information relative to who the defendant was?
yes,
And you used that information to take out search warrants, which led to further information about the defendant?
yes,
You spoke to the defendant's mother?
yes.
Did you show them the picture?
So,
Did you use a picture when you spoke to the defendant's mother?
no,
How did you confirm the identity of the defendant?
simply by asking the mother who he was, who Keontae Brown was. She confirmed that that was her son.
And you did see a picture of Keontae Brown?
I did.
What kind of picture?
It was a driver's license photo.
Okay. Do you see the person in the courtroom today who was identified as a suspect? You can stand up, or I'll let Your Honor.
If you're having a mask, can you remove your mask?
If you see them, can you describe where they are sitting and what they are wearing?
Keontae Brown is sitting at the defendant's table next to a lawyer wearing a black suit.
All right. You can have a seat now.
Keontae is wearing a blue shirt.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, may the record reflect that the officer has identified the defendant, Keontae Brown.
So noted.
Was there any prior relationship between the two victims and the defendant with any of the individuals involved, co-conspirators?
No,
This is just occurred that night with no authority or motive?
that's what it appears to be.
Okay. There was no consent given for the defendant to possess any of the property of the defendants? Okay. Is there anything about this incident that we haven't covered during the course of your testimony?
Not that I can think of at the moment.
Okay. No further questions at this time for this witness, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Rhodes?
Yes, Investigator Lucian, you were not part of the initial contact with the victims, right?
No,
Do you remember the names of the officers who were the first responders?
I do not.
Is it written in your report anywhere?
I can check. Can you give me a moment?
Sure.
One of the responding officers is Officer Craig, Amanda Craig. And the initial responding investigator is Investigator Joseph.
Is there anyone else who may have spoken with Ms. Cordo or Mr. Aguilar?
I'm not sure. I would have to check at a later time.
All right. And the initial response, you said it was on the SCAD campus?
The victims called 911 from the SCAD campus.
Okay. And the actual incident is alleged to have occurred on 1475 Spring Street.
That's correct.
And your approximation about how far away were the alleged victims from Spring Street, that location?
When they called 911?
Mhm.
I don't know. I would have to look at a map.
It's all right. You mentioned that 1475 Spring Street was an abandoned building. Yes.
Yes.
Would there have been any surveillance footage in that area?
I did later go and check for surveillance footage. There was none that I could see. No surveillance cameras that I could see.
Okay, and were there no other No other witnesses, no other cars in that parking lot?
No.
Okay, and when was the case transferred to you?
I believe it was just maybe a day or two after it occurred.
All right. And in the meantime, had any other officer done any investigation, additional investigation, before you had received the case?
No, not to my knowledge.
All right. And you also mentioned that the next day it was Miss Cordo who gave you a call?
No, it was, I got in contact with Mr. Aguilar, Nathan Aguilar.
All right. And Mr. Aguilar was calling about his bank cards being used.
Yes.
All right. And do you remember the name of the website or anything where that card had been used at?
If you give me a moment to refer to my notes, I can tell you.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
The website that he was able to, I believe that's not correct. The website that he was able to give me the information from was txpowersports.com. But there were other websites that the cards were used on as well.
All right. And was Mr. Aguilar able to show you receipts of purchases that were used with his name?
None of, according to the information he gave me, I don't believe any of the transactions had fully gone through.
Okay. Right. And were you able to ascertain, the location, the physical location of where those purchases were attempted?
No, I was able to ascertain a general area where the purchases were attempted, but not a direct physical location. I was, though, able to get the information that some of the items were to be delivered to a nearby address to Mr. Brown's address.
All right. So none of the purchases went through, right?
To my knowledge, no.
But there was still a note in some way saying that the items were to be delivered at a certain address?
It's the information that you put in when you're trying to order something. You would put in your name, email, bank information, as well as a shipping or billing address.
All right. Based off of that information, you sought out a search warrant?
Yes.
Okay. And that search warrant was to search for what exactly?
The search warrant was to find the information related to the Gmail that was used, that was put in when that transaction was attempted.
And that Gmail, once again, was kingrifa@gmail.com?
Yes.
were you able to determine any name or identity behind the creator of that email address?
Eventually I was, through getting additional search warrants for the emails associated with the original email.
And what were those email addresses?
If you just give me a second. One of the email addresses that was associated, which was the recovery email for kingrifa@gmail.com, was KeontaeBrown720@gmail.com. It is spelled KIONTEBRWN720@gmail.com.
By the way, what was the address that the items were to be delivered to again?
They were to be delivered to 2977 Columbia Drive, Decatur, Georgia, 30034.
Did you have any prior knowledge or reason to believe that Mr. Keontae Brown resided at that address?
No, he does not or did not ever reside at that address to my knowledge. But he does or did reside at a nearby address, which was 3164 Citrus Court.
Do you know who resides at 2977 Columbia Drive?
To my knowledge, no one. When I looked up that address, it doesn't come back to any particular home or residence. It's just an area.
All right. And then, you mentioned you spoke with Mr. Brown's mother.
Yes.
And she was at the Citrus Court address?
Yes.
How did you ascertain that Mr. Brown would have been affiliated with that address?
I believe I got that address from the results of one of the search warrants from the emails that I had gone through.
Did you speak with anyone else at that address?
No, I believe I only spoke to his mom, if I'm remembering correctly.
All right. And how did you confirm that this would have been Mr. Keontae Brown's mother?
I asked for his general information. She was able to provide it. She provided the information for Keontae Brown, I believe his brother and his sister.
All right. All right, got it. Moving on to the phone, Mr. Brown's phone.
Mm-hmm.
That phone, it was able to be traced right after the alleged robbery?
No. The Mr. Brown's phone number, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
No, I didn't trace it right after the robbery. Are you referring to the phone records, or like once I got the phone records back?
No, sometime on direct, you mentioned some sort of tracing after the robbery of the vehicle apparently moving east.
So once I was able to get Keontae Brown's phone records, it shows that he was in the area of the robbery at the time of the robbery. And then his phone pings shows him going east back towards his home area. And then while in that area, during the times of the transactions, his phone pings again.
Was his phone recovered?
No, when I finally spoke to Mr. Brown, the phone that he had on his person, I believe he said is not the same phone he had back in 2021.
All right. Additionally, the phones of Antonia Cordo and Nathan Aguilar were also taken, right?
Yes,
Were those phones ever traced?
I believe. I'm sorry, if you give me just a second, I believe the victim was able to track his phone for a short period of time. Let me check my notes to refresh my memory. Mr. Aguilar was able to track his phone temporarily that morning.
All right. And, where was his phone ultimately located?
He said his phone was located somewhere near Peachtree Street and Peachtree Circle.
All right. Jumping forward again, you had called Mr. Brown or arranged a meeting with Mr. Brown at some point. Is that correct?
No.
You mentioned you had interviewed him.
Yeah, I interviewed Mr. Brown when he was arrested.
And after arrest, was he Mirandized at the time of his arrest?
He was.
And
It will later.
it was afterwards that he still spoke with you about the incident?
Yes.
Did you have body cam on during the encounter?
I did not.
Where did this arrest occur?
The arrest, I believe, was actually made by Hapeville. Mr. Brown was then transported to police headquarters where we spoke in the interview room.
And was there any footage of the interview in the interview room?
Yes, there was video and audio recorded.
All right. Right, and you mentioned at some point the car was recovered.
Yes.
Do you know where it was recovered?
It was recovered at the intersection of Columbia Drive and Olive Tree Court.
Do you know what day it was recovered?
No, I do not.
Were there any other officers or investigators involved in Mr. Brown's interview at the precinct?
Yes, Detective DeJong.
Could you spell that?
I believe it's spelled DeJong. Jonge.
And no firearm was ever recovered during this investigation?
No,
Were either Ms. Cordo or Mr. Aguilar, did they ever identify Mr. Brown once he was arrested?
no.
Understood. Thanks, Officer Lucian. Those are all my questions.
All right, anything else, Mr. Norwood?
Nothing further from the state at this time.
Yes, officers. No more, anything else for him?
Mayor, I want to address something that came
Oh,
out. on
okay,
the-
go ahead.
Just briefly. With respect to the cars that were used, did you get the car numbers?
You mean tag
No.
numbers or VINs? What do you,
The credit or the
The credit card
financial
numbers, okay,
transaction
sure.
card numbers?
oh, I thought you said car. I was
Oh,
like, what?
yeah, no.
No, sir, I did not.
You did not?
I did
Okay.
not.
But you were able to confirm that they were for the purposes of financial transactions?
Yes,
And that information could later be uncovered by use of a search warrant?
yes,
And when you initially took the search warrants out with respect to the phone pinging and the email addresses, were those all linked to a Keontae Brown?
yes.
And what is, what was the description of the individual with the gun or with the firearm given by the two victims?
He was described as a dark-skinned black male, approximately 18 years old, 5'7" to 5'8" in height, wearing a red jacket and gray sweatpants with a large braid. That was it.
And the darker complexion male was taller than the lighter complexion male,
Yes,
and that's who had the gun.
yes.
Okay. Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
Anything else?
Clarifying again on the height. The darker skin male was 5'7" to 5'8".
Yeah, so the description that the victims initially gave, they described him as 5'7" to 5'8". When I later spoke to the victims individually, they said that the darker skinned male was the taller of the two.
Okay, but they didn't say by about how many inches or so.
No,
Okay. Also, one last thing. When was the date of your interview with Mr. Brown when he was arrested?
let me check. November 15th, 2022.
So about a year and a half had passed since the initial incident.
That's correct.
Thank you, officer.
Anything else?
No further questions, Your Honor. May our officer be
Anything else for the
excused?
officer?
Yes, may he be
Stay
excused.
safe out there. Thank you, officer.
Thank you.
Want somebody here to save the day. All right, go ahead with the argument real quick.
Whoa, hey.
You can be excused. Yeah, good. Have a good one. Stay safe. Yes, Judge, we will submit on all charges based on the evidence we have that you find probable cause. With one brief note, if you're so inclined, at this time, we would ask that a financial transaction, card theft, and fraud be added based on the defendant, or based on the testimony and the evidence presented by the officer. We would submit they were taken. The financial transaction card was taken and subsequently used fraudulently. My apologies. And Nothing further from the state at this time. Subject to rebuttal.
Mr. Rhodes?
Yes, Judge. I would, of course, oppose the addition of a financial card theft and fraud charge. There's no evidence linking specifically my client, Mr. Brown, to, the use of those cards. Furthermore, there was no actual purchase that was completed with any of those cards in question. And I would just submit on that. I would also note that there may be identification issues in regards to this whole incident. The alleged victims never saw specifically Mr. Brown. There was never a lineup and never a show up or anything of that nature. And I understand that may be an issue that may come up with trial, but I would ask that there would be no probable cause on any of the charges for improper identification.
All right, anything else?
I'll just respond briefly. We'll leave the financial transaction card theft and fraud up to discretion of Your Honor. But with respect to counsel's statement with respect to ID, I'm looking at 296 Georgia App 869 Killingsworth State. It actually does say evidence was sufficient to convict the defendant of armed robbery after the victim indicated that the taller of the two assailants had the gun during robbery. And based on the officer's testimony, the victim stated that the taller of the two assailants had the firearm. And we would also add that probable cause is a relatively lower standard here. So we do ask that Your Honor find probable cause on all four counts. We submit that we have met our threshold here. Nothing further from the state.
All right. I find probable cause on armed robbery, hijacking motor vehicle, aggravated assault with intent to rob, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. What's the code section for the financial transaction card?
I was just looking for it.
I was.
1 second. I used to.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see. Nope.
The 16-9-31. OCG.
Nope. There you go. Okay, got it right here.
Fraudulent. That's it. I got it.
Oh.
Stutter. I stuttered.
So are you asking for the fraud or financial transaction card theft?
I'm asking for a theft and a fraud. We can do just the theft though, if Your Honor's not inclined to add both.
All right. And I'm going to add financial transaction card theft, 16-9-31.
Thank you.
All right. Will address bond pre-trial.
No prior arrest.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Rhodes.
Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown is from Georgia. He's also 22 years old at this point. I called his father, who lives in Morrow, Georgia, at an address 2783 Arctic Court. Mr. Brown would be able to reside there upon leaving jail with his father and his father's girlfriend. He is a high school graduate from Columbia High School and has, previous to arrest, been working at various jobs, most recently as at FedEx in Ellenwood as a package handler. He has, of course, no prior criminal history. He's, again, no flight risk, not a risk to reoffend with any prior history. There's no testimony of any knowledge of who the alleged victims are. So we don't think that there's a risk to intimidate anyone. We don't know who they are or where they are. So I do think that Mr. Brown is, it would be appropriate for Mr. Brown to receive a reasonable bond in this case. We ask the bond, of course, be set at a rate not to exceed $15,000 on all charges.
Mr. Norwood?
Yes, Judge, we appreciate, the state appreciates the lack of history here. I am also showing the defendant has no history. However, the state is concerned about the nature of these allegations involving use of a firearm, pointing of the firearm, subsequent taking of substantially valued property, 2 phones, a car, 2011 Acura, and we do have 2 victims here. No prior relationship between the 2 victims, between the victims and the defendant. So we submit there is danger posed to those 2 victims. I'm pending an update. We attempted to reach out. We're still following up on that. This incident did take place in May of 2021. And we would submit the danger will leave any bond discretion, but bond amounts in your honor sound discretion. I'll ask for no less than 15,000 on the armed robbery.
Okay. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. You're gonna have ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, and work. You have to supply the name of employer, proof of employment, a schedule, and exact location you'll be working. You'll need to supply that to the ankle monitoring company and to your lawyer so they can supply it to the state. I think I said no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. No further contact with Nathan Aguilar, Aguliar, and Antonia, Antonia Cordo, Cordo. Stay out of Fulton County. Sir, you only come back to Fulton County court and to see your lawyer. You do not cross that county line unless it's court or to see your lawyer. No gas, no flat tire, no nothing. Stay on 285. That's the only way you're able to go through Fulton County going somewhere else. All right. Stay away from 1475 Spring Street Northwest. 15 count 1 on armed robbery, 10 on hijacking, 10 on ag assault with attempt to rob, and 10 on possession of firearm during the commission of a felony because he has obviously no prior criminal history. Best of luck to you, sir.
Judge, you added a financial card.
Oh, yep, and let's say 5 on that. Thank you. Okay. Best of luck to you. If you want to talk to him, can you leave so they can bring Mr. Gomez out so I can talk to the lawyer of the year?
Yes, Judge. May I also have a brief word with?
Sure. Because I think we're probably gonna there's no way she'd be prepared for this when she hears this mess. So we'll probably excuse you and reset this.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So that she can get called up. And what's that date? All right.
Steve, go.
All right. So they're gonna bring Mr. Gomez out.
Okay.
He's got 2 indicted cases and this case.
I did see that. They're both indicted to Judge Krause.
Right. And I was emailing Judge Krause and it's on a trial calendar. Some of those indicted cases. Keisha Steed was on there as representing him. She filed a lot of the ex parte motions.
Okay.
They were
I
granted.
did look at those orders and I saw they were signed by Tim Cook as attorney for defendant, and he is a contractor with our office covering Judge Krause's courtroom.
Right.
So I gave him a call on my walk here and I didn't reach him, but I left him a voicemail to give me a call, shoot me a text as soon as possible about whether he's still representing Mr. Gomez in both of those matters.
Miss Steed, I saw stuff from her. I didn't see anything from Tim Cook, but I was just kind of trying to breeze through it because on this case, position 1,
right.
Of course, the other 2 are holding him. They're indicted, but he's been in jail 755 days. He had his first appearance in this case on April the 11th. So
Tim Cook just texted me. I can try to get him on the line, see if he's representing Mr. Gomez in the indicted cases.
Okay, is he representing him in here?
I don't believe he would be representing him on the unindicted case.
Okay, if you need to step out and call him, you can, Mr. Rhodes.
Great.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. Will you ask him to be excused?
No, I was going to speak to my client.
Oh,
But also.
once you do, yes, you can.
Hey, Judge Manning, just for clarification on that last case, it was 15 for the first charge, 10 on the next ones, and then 5 on the last one, right?
Yeah, 10 on the next 3 and then 5, right?
Thank you.
I know I talk fast and have this accent. I mean, yeah, she's gonna be back in here, but you can go ahead and bring him out and I can tell him just to wait on her. No, that's the Attorney Rondon's. That's the, okay, so Mr. Gomez, so I want you to just sit there for a few minutes and don't say anything, okay? Because I called Ms. Rondon from the conflict attorney's office and she's trying to find out who's supposed to be representing you. Are you familiar with a guy's name? Have you ever spoken with a male attorney?
No.
Okay. So the name Tim doesn't ring a bell?
I haven't spoken with no attorney, man.
Okay, so hold on. I understand and trust me, this is. Anyway, it's a huge problem and I'm not happy at all. So we're trying to find out who does and get you somebody because you have absolutely, it's your right to go pro se, but I would strongly suggest that you reconsider and, but we just need to find out who it is. So Ms. Rondon's out there calling someone.
Thank you.
Okay, so she'll be right back in. But when she comes in, we're just kind of got to talk about the lawyer and we're going to set yours out, give them time to get your lawyer, get somebody over there to talk to you in detail about the two cases you have and this case and bring you back for this February the 28th. And by then you'll have spoken to your lawyers about the two other cases in this case and we'll be good to go, okay?
So you want to reschedule this case today to February the 28th?
Right, so that we find your lawyer, get your lawyer up to date, give them a chance to meet you and they need to go and see you, okay?
All right. So I just want to make sure, am I definitely going to be back February 28th? Because it's been a while now.
Yes, sir. I want to have you, and you're going to be back in front of me February the 28th at 1 p.m.
Thank you so much. It's been a long time. I haven't been able to get my expressions off to nobody on what was going on with the case.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, man.
So we're trying to figure out this because this shouldn't have happened, and
Yes, ma'am.
I'll try to get to the bottom of it. But first thing I want to do is get you a lawyer,
Thank you.
and so I got somebody here at least that's helping.
Thank you.
And everybody, round of applause. Here she is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Tim Cook did confirm that he does represent Mr. Gomez in both the indicted cases before Judge Krause.
Has he met with him? Because he says he hasn't met with anyone.
I haven't seen nobody.
He says he has no idea. The last person he's had contact with was Miss Steed.
None.
Ms. Steed?
Last lawyer I saw was Miss Steed. That was February 22nd, 2000.
Right, but it was the last lawyer you had contact with was Miss Steed.
That last lawyer. That was over a year.
Okay,
So
I
who's
wrote-
gonna,
I wrote to the courts.
hold on 1 second. So who will handle this case?
with this case on the calendar, that will be me.
You sure?
Appoint myself, yes.
Because you're the one that came down.
Yes, that will be me. But Tim Cook did say he was aware of the pending mental competency.
It's,
order.
okay, Judge Cross said it, good to go.
Good to go?
Yeah.
Okay. But he had been aware of that and he knew about the March court date.
Yeah, she said, actually, she said that he was found, no issues in the ex parte eval. She says, fine. And yeah, it does say says had P&A in November, set for final plea March 7th.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Mr. Cook did say he would be there for that.
So Tim Cook, Ms. Rhonda can give you his phone number or something
Yes, I can.
so that you can reach out to him. But
This docket number is on what case? What docket?
well, that's on both those indicted in front of the other judge, Judge Krause.
I just want to make sure. Can you tell me the docket number? on both
The
cases?
two cases that have an SC in them.
That have on what?
Hold on, I'll show
I'm
you.
sorry.
You're good. This one right here, 179. So
Right.
that's this case you have
Mhm.
right here.
Yeah.
And then
222.
this one, except that's a two, not one.
All right, that. So that's that case right there.
Mhm.
All right, as far as it go with the other cases, what are those cases? One is a misdemeanor, right? Always.
No, she's just here for the one where you're charged. It's a 22 CP 208134, 755 days, aggravated assault, possession of dangerous drugs and obstruction.
So these two, which one you got?
This one. See the case.
All right.
That's the one on the
Timothy
calendar.
Cook is representing you.
On these two.
All right.
And eventually, when this gets back, we'll have all.
All right, is there any way I can speak to somebody about a bail or something?
So hold on. So what we're going to do, because I think in the other cases, there's no bond, right? So here, so when we come back on the 28th, we'll do a prelim and we'll address bond. However, keep in mind on the two cases in front of Judge Krause, you have no bond. So she would have to address those bonds because that case is assigned to her.
The cases that are, aggravated.
Hold on, the ones that Mr. Cook represents you in? Yeah.
And that's the case.
Right, so
But that judge will have to set bond in these two.
that judge will hear that and set bond, okay?
I'm gonna go with, Mr. Timothy Cook with that.
Mr. Cook, I'm sure is going to, you reach out and he needs to come and see you. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna tell her to tell him to go see you immediately.
So I just wanna make sure before I get out of here, it's all set. I do have this right here though. As far as me being temporary right now, I was pro se in the beginning of my case, which I was.
Okay, so hold on. So Ms. Rhonda probably isn't gonna want you to show me or talk to me about anything that you have
Interrupt this
Yeah.
and say this might be a conversation that you and I can have.
in private,
Right.
okay?
And-
Oh, is it possible?
No, we can have it in private, and I think we can discuss with the judge simply scheduling of the hearing.
I'm just saying, cause I haven't been able to actually like fight my.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah,
No, no,
we'll
no,
talk
no,
about
it's
it.
so long.
You and I are gonna have those
Wow.
conversations.
She understands, and that's why
Yeah.
I text her and said, come down here, please. And she says, absolutely.
And I ran here.
No, we don't need you to talk about what's in that folder.
Thank you so much. I'm just trying to
No,
get
I know.
some type of help.
And
while I'm
hopefully
here
this
before I
very
go
nice
back.
deputy here will allow me to speak with you in the back for a second.
So, Mr. Gomez, she's probably gonna come down to the jail or call you and talk, where you can talk and you're not out here where, to him, he's the black hats, he's against you. So you don't want to say anything where he can hear it.
So I'll see you February 28th.
On February the 28th at 1 PM, it will be me. Is that
Okay, great.
One thing I want to know before I say anything, I
Well-
have not had any of the police reports or any.
Okay, hold on.
If anybody can address it, I had to say Mr. Tim Cook.
Tim Cook.
Okay, so I can put that in the notes.
Yeah. Tim Cook and then Miss Rhonda on this one.
Okay, Ms. Rondon on this one. Okay.
Oh, and yeah. Okay, so, what happened to, I got everybody else on, I think, all right. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. You said February the 28th
Yes, is that not good?
at 1 o'clock?
1 PM?
That should work.
All right, you can check since. And Tim Cook on the indicted ones.
Yes, Judge. I will just
Yes, Your
notate
Honor.
Odyssey accordingly so we can streamline any discovery or if maybe they
Okay,
already had it.
sure.
I'm not certain.
Maybe they could do an indictment and get all the cases together.
Yes, Judge.
Yep, the 28th is fine for me.
Okay.
I do see a final plea date in that,
Yeah, March the
March the
7th.
7th.
yes.
Yeah.
On both of them cases.
That's
So-
on the indictment.
So, Mr. Gomez, I'll see you on February the 28th at 1 PM, okay?
On 28th, where, what case?
It was for this one. And we can talk about this.
Are you okay? You do it?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. That's okay. She's gonna write everything down. So we're gonna talk about scheduling and she'll write it down and send it to you, okay? She'll write down Mr. Cook's number and write down the dates for you if you want her to.
Yeah.
May our officer be excused?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Cool. I'm gonna leave.
That case is reset until February the 21st at 1 PM. Did you go back there and talk to him?
Have a good one. Appreciate
Huh?
it.
No, and I would need an interpreter to talk.
Oh, yeah, we need an interpreter and we don't have one. So I don't know.
Can we
Yeah,
get,
you definitely don't want me to speak Spanish, so.
can we get an interpreter or?
Yeah, it's hard to understand your English.
Dang it, I was waiting on you, Bostic. All right, I don't think we need anything else on the record, right?
I'm not, do we need to stick around for an interpreter to come and explain?
No, I mean,
Okay.
since the officer's in training,
Okay. it's-
or if we get in, yeah. I mean, I'm fine with it. Well, so we'll order an interpreter for February the 21st at 1 PM.
Yes, Judge.
So
Yes,
we don't need anything else on the record, right?
yes, may the state be excused or?
Absolutely.
It's great to see you, Your Honor. We'll do it again. Are you gonna be here on Thursday or?
This week. I think so.
Okay.
I can't remember, yeah.
I'll be
Usually it's
here.
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
All right.
But, yeah, I'll see y'all the next time.
Yes,
Since there's
Judge.
no night court for the rest of the week, we got a break.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Got a break. Thank goodness. All right, let's
You
see.
see